Hi, folks. We're going to get started in a couple of minutes. We're just waiting on more people to join. Hello, everyone. We're going to get started now. Hopefully, everyone's been able to log on to the live stream. We want to start off by providing an overview of today's session. We're going to start off with the very basics and cover what is marketing, why we engage in marketing, and why it's important to have your business online today. We'll close off our session by discussing what we expect in the upcoming sessions as well, and there'll be plenty of opportunities to engage. And we do recommend you please keep a piece of paper and a pen handy to make the most of this session and the subsequent ones. As always, we'd appreciate any feedback that you have, and it does help us in improving our efforts in making and tailoring our content. Before we sort of get into the meat of the presentation, I just want to highlight two of the programs that we've launched in the last month for Pakistanis as we try and navigate the new realities brought on by the coronavirus pandemic. The first is Grow with Google, which is a curated collection of different resources offered by Google to help you make the most of this unexpected downtime. This includes tools and resources for businesses, educators, and students that are now transitioning from working from their offices and workplaces to home. The other initiative that we'd like to highlight is the COVID-19 hub that we put together so that you can get trustworthy information around safety and prevention during this pandemic. It is available both in English and Urdu. And for the data-driven, we also have the COVID-19 trends page, which shows you what Pakistanis are searching for during the pandemic. It's full of interesting insights about how things are changing very, very quickly here in Pakistan. Details of both of Grow with Google and COVID-19 are available in the description of this live stream that you're watching. So, without further ado, just a quick introduction on myself. My name is Raza Mateen. I'm the marketing consultant for Pakistan at Google, and I'll be kicking off this session today. Today, I'm joined by my colleagues, Ikra and Johan. I'll give them a second to introduce themselves as well. Johan?
Yes, hello. My name is Johan. I'm originally from Sweden, but I've been traveling to Pakistan a lot lately as well and worked with Pakistani clients. So I'm very honored to be here and joining you today.
Ikra?
Hi, everybody. My name is Ikra. I'm actually from Pakistan. I'm from Karachi. And I have also been working with our clients back home very frequently and excited to be here.
Perfect. Worth noting, both Ikra and Johan are dialing in from Singapore, so thank you for making the effort, guys. We'd also be amiss not to call out some of our friends and partners who've made this event possible. So thank you, Chainstore Association of Pakistan, SMEDA, the Ministry of Commerce, TDAP, SECP, foodpanda, the Ecommerce Gateway Pakistan, National Incubation Centers, Telenor 4G, Daraz, and the Nest.io, all of which have contributed to try to make this event as large as possible. Thank you, everyone, and we look forward to working with you to help more Pakistani businesses come online. Just a note here, this session is designed to be interactive, so please do go to slido.com, that's slido.com, and use the access code V456 to enter into our interactive chat where we'll be asking questions throughout the session. And you'll get a chance to respond and engage with us. let's just actually kick that off with a quick Slido poll, which is, what did you eat for Sari today? So if you guys could all go to slido.com, enter the code V456, and provide a response. I personally had a omelet and a cup of tea for Sari. Johan, what was your breakfast like?
I had a cup of coffee, actually. I'm not a very big breakfast person, but a good cup of coffee kicks me off in the morning. Ikra, did you have anything for Sari today?
I did actually. I had a big bowl of fruit and I had a lot of water because fasting in Singapore, it's a long day. So I made sure I was prepared.
Oh, it's true. I see we do get some answers here. A lot of people eating
a lot of fried stuff, which is interesting. Yeah. Early in the morning. Kebab, paratha, tea bread. Yeah, fantastic. I guess we're a protein-first country, which is always good.
It's awesome. It's good to see that people are being responsive here. So this is, of course, just a test, and we'll keep on looking into this the polls here as we go. Have an interesting session.
Fantastic. I think we can. It's very clear the winner is paratha, and for good reason too. It's a nutritious breakfast, I guess. Fantastic. Let's carry on, and we'll check back in to see if this changes at all, and we'll circle back. Just another note. At the end of the session, please do fill out the survey on slido.com. This will enable you to get a badge, which you can then share across your social media. We'd appreciate any feedback that you have in order to improve the future sessions. Perfect. So let's sort of start with a story and start answering the question, why are we here as business people, as entrepreneurs, as aspirational businessmen and women? No matter where you are in your business journey, you're typically trying to find a way to grow. You always start from nothing to something smaller, and you aspire to be something larger. And if you already have a thriving business, you're constantly on the lookout for ways to grow that business. If you've just started out, you're trying to figure out, how do we take my business, small business that I've just started, and take it to that next level? And this is what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about growth and how we get there, and what's the right way of getting there. So our story starts with a gentleman by the name of Ahmed. He runs a small bakery that he wishes to grow into a big business. He has big dreams for what he wants to achieve. Ahmed, in his small little bakery, makeshift bakery rather, sells what some people say are the best sweet butter buns in Karachi, supposedly based on a recipe based down from his grandfather. Ahmed, however, aspires to be more of a seller of just more than sweet butter buns. He aspires to one day own and operate a large bakery, catering to all sorts of customers, offering a wide variety of products. He's driven to grow this business. As little as it may be today, he wants to grow this business so he can provide more for his family, live a better life, and indulge in the things that make him happy. All great reasons to grow a business. So the question Ahmed is asking today is, how do we grow? This is the question that every business, young or old, asks. If we remain stagnant, the world tends to move ahead of us, so we must grow a little bit just to keep up. But if we want to grow beyond that, what we need to do is something else. And so there are two ways we can grow a business. The first of which is to sell more to your existing customers. That might be a problem for Ahmed, as there's only so many sweet butter buns that his customers are willing to buy. So whilst he may convince a few of his customers to buy more buns, maybe substituted for sliced bread, etc., it's not really a strategy that can help him grow sustainably. Which brings us to the alternative, which is to sell his buns to more people, and by doing so, expand his addressable market or his potential customer base. This definitely looks like a better plan for Ahmed. And it's often the case for most businesses where customers don't buy goods very frequently or are beyond a certain depth. So they'll only buy one or two maximum because they're either perishable or they just don't have that much utility. So the question is, if we want to grow our business by selling Ahmed's sweet butter buns to more people, how do we do it? The answer is marketing. But in order to understand how to market, we first need to sort of develop an understanding of what marketing is and why we need to do it. Marketing is defined as the process through which companies or organizations create value, perceived or otherwise, for customers, and then attempt to capture this value in return, which in Ahmed's case is the sale of his buns. What Ahmed needs to do is make sure more people are finding his business. He feels that if more people knew that he had the best sweet buns in Karachi, he can grow his business considerably. So what can he do? He can put out a sign letting people know what he sells, and maybe someone passes by as they're walking by his bakery, and hopefully they get interested and they buy some buns. And that's one way of growing his business and potentially garnering repeat business. If he's a little more adventurous, maybe he can make a little more money by promoting his messages with a loudspeaker. By doing so, his message may get to more people. But this won't necessarily be a good strategy in the long run, as this kind of marketing strategy does not scale well because we're still only reaching the people that are right next to us. So if there's a definite cap to how many people he'll be able to reach with his signboard and his speaker strategy, he might even become a little annoying with his constant loudspeaker marketing. So what do businesses of all sizes do to reach more people at scale? Increasingly, these businesses are turning to the internet. By simply using his phone and a little bit of data, Ahmed can bring his business online, and in doing so, make it discoverable beyond the people that live in his neighborhood, maybe all of Karachi. By bringing his business online, he can find more customers, get more orders, and maintain relationships with his customer base. By bringing his business to the digital world, he opens up a world of possibilities for himself and his aspirations. And if he's diligent and sticks to his goals, he might even achieve his aspiration of one day owning his own store. Just because he has a store, though, doesn't mean Ahmed can stop marketing. To tell you more about Ahmed's story, I'm going to now hand it over to Johan, who's going to walk you through the rest of the journey. Johan?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Raza. So let's say Ahmed now has actually achieved his store, his bakery, and he wants to continue grow this bakery. If we skip to the next slide, it's the truth of marketing is that it's not a one-off process. It's not a one-off task. It's a process. You have to continuously keep thinking, how can you grow your business? How can you spread your message further? If you think about a few things, if I say, for example, soft drinks or fast food, you probably get a brand name in your mind, and I probably have that same brand name in my mind. But the only reason we have that is because they have done continuous marketing and continuously spreading their message of them being the best at what they do. So another truth, such as the 2010 movie Wall Street, Money Never Sleeps, we can say that business never rests. So Ahmed has another competitor, another bakery that sells pretty much the same things as Ahmed. They're on the same street, they're very close to each other. Quite often businesses tend to end up in these small clusters where they sell the same things. If you think about perhaps a souvenir shop or perhaps a clothing store, they often tend to sell quite similar items and are not that separate from each other. So how can Ahmed then compete with this other bakery that opened up on the same street right next to him? Let's move on and see. So actually first, let's take a Slido poll and look at who are your competitors. So I think probably a lot of you do run your own business, or at least you work in a business. So if you think about for a while, who are your competitors? And I want you to also think a little bit outside of the box. So it doesn't have to be only the people who do the exact same things, but let us know who are your main competitors in this Slido poll. We're gonna take a look in there. So go to slido.com or sly.do and enter V456 to be able to answer in this poll. Let's have a look here. Product photographers, free online. Facebook.
So interestingly, I think we're getting a lot of people saying that people selling online are the competitors.
True, yeah. If you think about what they're selling, well, yeah, exactly. People selling online. So I think as well, if we think of the case of Amid, actually, we'll take a few more minutes to wait for people to sell here. Seems like we have a few art salespeople here. That's good. Okay, let's go back to, if we think about Amit's little bakery here, some of the things that I could think about that are competitors to Amit would be, for example, restaurants who, if you have already eaten at a restaurant, you might not go and buy the buns of Amit on your way home because you're already full. Of course, we have the quite obvious one with grocery stores and hypermarts, etc., who also sell buns and similar products. But if we think about it, also something such as a cinema could be a competitor in a way, because let's say you're either planning to have a stay-at-home night with your friends coming over versus going out to the cinema with your friends. If you have a night at home with your friends, you might actually go and buy Amit's buns to feed them. But if you go to the cinema, you're not going to end up purchasing those products. If you think about it as well, dietitians who go out and say, let's not eat white bread, they might also be a form of competitor. So when we think about who our competitors are, we should really think about who can actually be some sort of threat to our business, some sort of competing for that same money or solving a similar problem. So think about your competition in a much wider aspect compared to just like people who do the same things. Let's move on though. If we think about the competitors, so basically it's any business that solves the same problems as you are. Now further, something that I want to talk about is the fact that marketing and promotions are not the same thing. So quite often when you think about how can I sell more, it might be to sort of lower the prices. Lower prices usually leads to more people buying your things. And that might be a good strategy sometimes. If we think about if, for example, Amit's competitor here, another bakery, they're right next door selling the same things, but everything is at half price. Most likely they're going to end up getting more customers at a period of time. So if Amit then competes in the same way, also says everything 50% off, then maybe now we end up sharing the same customers, so getting at least the same amount of customers. Now the question is this a good strategy or not? I would argue that it's not a very good strategy. So let's dig into a little bit of the math behind promotions, right? Let's say we have two types of costs in a business. We have fixed costs and we have variable costs. So fixed costs are all those things that remains the same no matter how much we're selling. So your rent probably is the same no matter how many products you're selling in a day. You still pay the same rent at the end of the month. However, in the case of Amit's bakery, he needs to buy ingredients. So the more bread he sells, the more ingredients he has to buy. And then that's what we call the variable cost. And then, of course, we add a bit of margin to that, and that's the sales price. So if we do let's say a 25% discount, what we're actually cutting into is mainly your profit margin, right? So this is fairly straightforward. We're not cutting costs. We actually might increase variable costs a little bit if we have to buy more ingredients to sell more bread. But the main thing we're cutting into are your profit margins. So if we do like Amit and his competitor, we have a 50% discount. we might actually end up having a very, very tiny profit margin. And this profit margin is the most important thing, because that is what you can reinvest into your business. It's what you as an owner get as a salary and you can take home. And that is what we can use to actually grow the business. So if we run a business which basically just covers the cost of the business and having a tiny, tiny bit of margin, it's really, really difficult to grow that business into something more than it is today. So what we need to do is to make sure that we have a good profit margin. Also, in this case, let's imagine that there's a big chain store coming into the town and they're setting up a business that competes with Amni. And maybe they have a massive, massive bakery outside of the town with much lower rent and much lower costs. And they're actually able to sell their buns at a much lower price just because they have what we call economies of scale. So they have a bigger production and can thereby reduce their costs on, for example, the ingredients as they buy, etc. What happens here is that maybe this big chain store is able to undercut Amni, and he's not able to actually compete with the price anymore. So he would sell every bread with a loss, and he can't make business that way, of course. So let's look at what. So basically, actually, what we would have here when we start to just discount and compete with the prices, that's what we call a price war. And in the end, everyone ends up losing on that. So this is not good for Amnit's bakery, and it's not good for the other bakery either. Now let's imagine that we invest about 10% of our money in marketing instead. So the 10% is not something that we say is a specific number you have to do, but that's what Amnit does. So Amnit invests 10% into marketing and telling people why he has the best sweet buttery buns in all of Karachi. And with this, he is telling people perhaps about his family recipe. He's telling people about his really, really great bread. And through investing this money into marketing, he's building up a love for his brand. So it's all about making sure that people come to you because you're offering something unique that your competitors cannot offer. So this is what we should be doing when we do marketing, building up that love for the brand so that people come to you not because you're just the cheapest, but because they really like your brand. And here, for example, instead of offering 50% discount, Ahmed is telling people he has the best bread in all of Karachi, and people come there because they really think he has the best bread. So he's able to make a lot more profit per loaf of bread that he's selling compared to his competitors. That way he's able to increase and grow his business even more. So let's go back to Slido, slido.com or slide.do, and go to enter V456 as a code, and let me know what is your competitive advantage. What sets you apart that is not the price of your products? Let's have a quick look here.
So Johan, I'm curious, when you choose why is your favorite coffee place your favorite coffee place? What sets them apart?
Absolutely. So I actually have this coffee place that I go to every time I'm back in Sweden. I go to the same coffee place, and I have been for the last 15 years or so. And I think what really sets them apart is their location is one big thing. They're on a corner on a really happening square. So when you sit there and drink your coffee, there's always things happening around you. And I think that's location can actually be a really good competitive advantage as well. What about you?
Well, for me, I think it's always about customer service. So if the customer service is great, I always want to. I'll be much more likely to go there than any other sort of restaurant, and that's what drives my loyalty. Ikra, what about yourself?
I would say like the amenities as well, right? So the ambience is one, and also if they have fast Wi-Fi, then why not? I think that really decides what like what is a good coffee place, because a lot of times you just want a coffee and get some work done. So those extras really help as well.
Yeah. It's amazing. I think on the Slido here we can see a few people. The most one being quality. I think quality is a great USP as well. and a great competitive advantage. So definitely something to promote in marketing and let people know, and also let people know why your quality is so good. Is it handmade? Is it specific ingredients, raw materials, etc.? All those things are really good things to promote in your marketing. So something that I wrote down in terms of what could be good competitive advantages could be something such as free delivery. This is actually a very if you can afford it, it's a very simple thing to offer, or even sort of increase the prices a little bit so that the average cost of your prices covers that delivery fees. Having everything always in stock. I know if I go to the supermarket or if I go to the market and I can't find what I'm looking for, that's a really annoying thing, of course. So if I know that there's a place to always have everything in stock, I might be choosing that one more often. For example, if you're in fashion, you can have unique sizes, extra large, extra small, those kind of things. Same day delivery. I saw a few great things on the Slido poll as well around the quality, the ingredients, the recipes, and so on. So those are really good things, and it's definitely something I think you should continue thinking about and continue stressing in when you talk to your customers. We move on here. So I wanted to basically just finish off before I hand over to Ikra to talk about how different ways of doing this. I wanted to remind you of the definition of marketing is to create value for customers and build strong customer relationships in order to capture value from the customers in return. So basically building up that really what gives your customers value to come to you, and how then sort of why would they be willing to pay perhaps a little bit more, perhaps a premium to buy your products versus your competitors. And that's your competitive advantage. And that's what marketing is all about in the end, figuring that thing out. So Ikra, I'm heading over to you to talk about how that can be done.
All right. So thank you, Johan, for that really delicious bread analogy. It was actually even more delicious because a lot of us are fasting right now. So now all I can think about is sweet buns. But so getting into this, right? So now that we know the importance of marketing, the natural next question is, what are the two basic types of marketing? So the first one is, if I can get the next slide, yeah. So the first one is something called traditional marketing. Now, traditional marketing is an age-old technique used by businesses where they use mediums like television, radio, newspapers, billboards, etc., to reach their target audience. A lot of times, this kind of marketing is also referred to as mass media because it's media that reaches the masses. Next one. Now, the one thing that all of these mediums of traditional media have in common is that they can usually be too expensive for businesses, especially if businesses are just starting out. So if you want a primetime spot on TV or radio, it can cost a lot of money. If that's an issue that your business is facing, or if that's a consideration you've been making, then I think digital marketing is something that you can really look into. Now, first of all, what is digital marketing? Digital marketing is the process of creating value for your customers, but doing it through online means. So reaching out to your customers through either using the internet, mobile phones, or social media, etc. Some of the examples of digital marketing include, but are not limited to, say, running an ad on Google Search, which is also known as search engine marketing, maybe running an ad on YouTube, which is called social media marketing, or sending an ad to a group of people via Gmail, which is called email marketing. Now, we know why digital marketing is important, what it is, but why should we consider it? We should consider digital marketing because that's basically where your users are always present and always researching. Just to give you a quick, stat for Pakistan, there are currently 78 million internet users, which means that there are 78 million people in Pakistan that are online in some shape or form. There are 165 million cellular connections and 80 million smartphones. Again, just to give you a little bit of context on what 78 million really means, because it can seem like an arbitrary number. The number of internet users in Pakistan is actually more than the entire population of France. So it's a significant number. And just looking at this, businesses should really consider going online for that reason. Yeah. Okay. So you can basically use digital marketing to connect and create relationships with your customers. And you can actually do that in a much cheaper way, because digital marketing is usually cheaper than traditional marketing in that it can be cheaper than running an ad on TV. It's very measurable and very customizable. So you can really track who is coming on your website from an ad that you maybe ran on YouTube. And if you've got a very precise segment of the population that you want to target, you can really control the ads that you send out and show it to only people who are your consumers. So if your consumer segment is, say, women in between the ages of 20 and 50, then you can make sure that your ads are only shown to those people. Now, that's all great. We know marketing is very important. We know digital marketing is an option. How can Google help you, right? So what if I told you that there is a way potential customers can actually find you and they can do that for free? And yes, for free. We've actually got this really amazing product called Google My Business, where you can list your business on Google My Business. And whenever potential customers are looking for your product or your listing shows up on the search page. If you want to learn more about this, though, you will have to sign into our next session, because that session is entirely dedicated to Google My Business and how you can get online through that. With that, the first session sort of comes to an end. I hope you guys learned something interesting about marketing, learned about the importance of marketing as well. If you want to continue your learning process, please do consider downloading our Primer app, which is available on Play Store and App Store. It has several lessons on business, on management, on marketing. So it's a great opportunity to use these free resources to actually learn more about marketing and how that can apply to your business. With that, I'd like to thank you on behalf of my co-presenters as well for joining in for this session. Just a quick reminder, please do sign in to Slido using the event code B456 and leave a short feedback. If you do sign in, you will get the attendance badge from us so that you can show it to your friends and tell them that you attended the session. So please do sign in, leave us some feedback so we can improve these sessions, and hopefully we'll see you in the next one.
Thank you all very much.
Bye, guys.